With the PS3 soon reaching its 20-year milestone, it's at this point I personally consider the system to be retro. I also felt this would be a good time to list the 10 games that I feel defined the system and set it apart from the competition. Wet. Released in 2009, developed by Artificial Mind and published by Bethesda, this is a fast-paced combat arcade-style points-based game with an amazing soundtrack I still listen to today. One track in particular reached my personal top 20 in this game, Chinatown Hustler.
Back, MSG with the hot track, lyrical ginsu cutting off your nutsack.
The game looks very choppy by today's standards, however the story and gameplay is where the game stands out. Lots of slow-mo for your high-scoring Max Payne-style shootouts, and a story that could have easily been written by Quentin Tarantino, and I dare say there's a bit of Guy Ritchie in there too. Final Fantasy XIII, developed by Square Enix and released in 2009. This for me personally was the first PS3 game that felt truly next-gen. Graphically, I'd argue this is the most stunning game on the PS3. The battle music is the best in the entire series, and the story really pulls on the heartstrings. It's a shame this game was shunned so much at the time and was considered a corridor simulator. It's since gained a cult following, and if not for Final Fantasy IX, this would be my favourite Final Fantasy game. Wipeout HD, developed by the now defunct Liverpool Studios in 2008. Couple fun facts on this one. This game was actually my first foray into video game reviews on this very channel, and this was also my first Wipeout game since the original on the PlayStation 1. Visually stunning. This game is fast-paced, brutal, and unforgiving. It also has an amazing soundtrack to boot. Interestingly, if you don't like the music, you can play your own via the PS3's HTD, which was a revolutionary feature at the time. Uncharted Drake's Fortune, developed by Naughty Dog and released in 2007. This third-person shooter has everything in a game we wanted from the likes of Indiana Jones and Tomb Raider, which it took a lot of inspiration from, whilst Tomb Raider listened and rebooted with a fantastic trilogy of games a few years later. Indiana Jones will go on to release one of the worst films in cinematic history. Resistance: Fall of Man, developed by Insomniac Games and released in 2006. This was actually a launch game for the PS3 and showcased the early AI we take for granted in the games we play today. Enemies would strafe, duck for cover, and change cover in an effort to get a better shot at you, the player. Whilst this is pretty standard now, when this game was released we had to do a lot of unlearning when playing an FPS, and the rest is history. The story is nothing to write home about. It's your typical world is getting invaded story, but you're actually playing this game for the fun weapons, if anything. I'm still holding out for a remake, reboot, or remaster of a full trilogy, or pentology if we want to include the PSP and Vita games. Killzone 2, developed by Guerrilla Games and released in 2009, is the final FPS on this list. a sequel to the ill-fated Killzone, which was weirdly marketed as a Halo killer, but fell so short of the mark it fell off a cliff. This sequel, however, gave us everything that the first one missed: stellar tactical multiplayer and a single-player campaign that no other Killzone has managed to top since. 100% I am a fan, and it remains one of the best FPSs ever made. The official multiplayer servers have long since shut down, but there are unofficial means if you really want to experience it. There's a group on Reddit where they have regular gaming nights. Infamous, developed by Sucker Punch and released in 2009. An open world game with a twist, where you either progress through the game being a good guy or as a bad guy, and the ending you get is dictated by the actions you take. It's got some Metroidvania elements in there too, if you're into that, but the main sell of the game is destructible environments and exploring. There is a half-decent story if you're into that. The story doesn't technically get really good until 2/3 of the way through though. Darkside, developed by THQ and released in 2010. But it was released on the 5th of January, so let's call it 2009. This game is what happens if Kratos and Zelda decided to have a baby. It's got a hack and slashing of the God of War series and the puzzle solving elements of Zelda. Take that and splice in a war between heaven and hell and you have a fantastic game. I'm not sure what other games in the series are like, as I didn't really invest as THQ got shut down in it. MotorStorm Apocalypse, developed by Evolution Studios and released in 2011. This game might one day be really hard to find due to the limited release following earthquakes in New Zealand and then Japan. The game would only be released in North America and parts of Europe, which is a huge shame, as this is a solid racer which builds on what made the previous two games in the series so popular. With ever-changing environments caused by earthquakes and different routes to take depending on the vehicle you're driving, this is a fantastic finale to a now dormant franchise. And before we get to our final game, here are some honourable mentions. Battlefield 1943, which at the time of writing, the servers are still working. Sadly, the same can't be said for Warhawk and Mag, which were ahead of the curve, let's be honest. We also have God of War 3, which was good, but more of the same compared to previous games in the franchise. And finally, Metal Gear Solid 4, which I only played a bit of, not fully. Okay, I only played the demo, sue me. Anyway, now for the final game on my list. Last of Us, developed by Naughty Dog and released in 2013. Not much can be said about this game that hasn't been said already. It's literally a masterpiece in every single way. In dunkability of biscuits, this game is a hobnob. There, I said it. Story, gameplay, online, crafting, the DLC, and even the acting. Each part of this game has gone through so much care and attention, it can be comparable to the Zelda franchise in terms of quality. Whilst no doubt I have made some controversial choices for the best games on the PS3, I think we can all agree on one thing. 2009 was a heck of a year for the PS3. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed watching my video. Please like, comment, and if you can, subscribe. Thank you. Bye!